Okay, let's just get right into it. If your brain feels totally fried, like you've given everything to a job that's giving you absolutely nothing back, then yeah, you're in the right place. We're going to walk through some books that can genuinely help, without any of the toxic positivity you are so tired of hearing.
I mean, does this sound familiar? You're just trying to make it to Friday, and the idea of picking up a book, it feels impossible. The last thing you need is another to-do list, another thing you should be doing. You need a lifeline.
So let's start with a really important question. Why does most of the advice you hear about burnout just make things feel worse? Well, it's because it's usually trying to solve the wrong problem.
But isn't burnout just about needing better self-care?
Yeah, exactly. That's what everyone tells us, right? But there's this huge, massive gap between that advice and, well, reality. You hear, practice self-care, and you're thinking, I can barely get myself to brush my teeth consistently. Or they say, just set better boundaries, which sounds great until you remember your paycheck is on the line. It's a complete and total mismatch.
Okay, so this is probably the most important thing to get. Burnout is not a motivation problem. You haven't failed. It's an energy depletion problem. Your tank is empty. And you can't try harder on an empty tank. You need to recover. And that energy drain, it shows up in some really specific ways. You know, it's that deep physical exhaustion, the kind where sleep doesn't even fix it. It's feeling emotionally numb, like nothing really matters anymore. It's that cognitive fog where you can't think straight. And then there's the cynicism, where everything just feels pointless, and that urge to just pull away from everyone and everything.
And I really need you to hear this. Let this sink in. This is a normal human response to being under overwhelming stress for way too long. It is not, I repeat, not a personal failing.
All right, so where do we even begin? Well, we start with phase 1. And phase 1 is all about just surviving. This is for when you have zero energy. The only goal here is comfort.
What if I don't even have the energy to read?
That is an excellent question. And that's exactly why this first recommendation is so perfect. Lori Gottlieb's Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. The energy requirement here is super low, especially if you listen to the audiobook. Honestly, it feels less like a self-help book and more like you're just having coffee with a really wise friend. Someone who gets it and reminds you that it's okay to feel a little broken.
And here's another fantastic one for when you're in that low energy zone, Kitchen Confidential by the one and only Anthony Bourdain. This is not instructional at all. It's just pure, raw, entertaining honesty about how brutal and beautiful work can be. You know, it's so validating to hear someone else talk about a soul-crushing job with so much clarity and humor.
Okay, so once you've got maybe a tiny bit more capacity, a little bit of energy back, you can move into the next phase, gentle recovery. This is where we can start to let in some gentle wisdom. And this is where Brené Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection comes in. This book is absolutely crucial if your burnout is all tangled up with perfectionism. The key insight here is so powerful. Your worthiness has nothing to do with how much you achieve. This book basically gives you permission to just be a human being again. Now, for a really powerful reframe, a game changer, Tricia Hersey's Rest is Resistance. Her whole argument is that our obsession with constant productivity, it's a form of oppression. It gives you this radical permission to see rest not as something you have to earn, but as a fundamental human right. It's not laziness, it's resistance. Okay, now, and this is a big now. Only when you feel stronger, when you actually have some energy back in the tank, can you even think about moving to this final phase, being ready to rebuild. Please do not rush this step.
The book Burnout by the Nagoski sisters it's a total game changer here. It's scientific, but in a really accessible way. It explains this key idea. Stress itself has a biological cycle that our bodies need to complete. This is why just relaxing on the couch doesn't work. The stress is still stuck in your body. This book gives you actual, practical tools to process it and get it out.
And when it comes to rebuilding some routines, Atomic Habits is perfect because it's so gentle. The whole idea is to start unbelievably small, especially when your energy is low. Forget about massive life overhauls. We are talking about just getting 1% better each day. And that feels manageable when you're recovering.
So yeah, we've talked about a lot of books, but I want to bring us back to the most important philosophy here. The mindset you need when you're reading in this state. It's about reading for comfort, not for cures. Are there any books I should actively avoid?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. You're going to want to stay far away from those high-intensity productivity books, the crush-it memoirs, and really anything at all that makes you feel guilty or like you're behind in life. The rule is super simple. If a book makes you feel worse, put it down immediately.
And look, remember, your brain just works differently when you're burned out, so you have to be gentle with the actual act of reading. Think in micro-sessions, 5, maybe 10 minutes max. Feel absolutely zero pressure to finish a book that isn't clicking. Rereading an old favorite? That's not just okay, it's fantastic. The #1 goal is comfort.
This right here, this is the core message of this whole thing. Please, stop treating reading like another item on your to-do list, another thing to optimize. See it for what it is in this moment. It's medicine for a tired soul.
Because, in the end, the goal isn't to find some magic bullet solution in a book. It's about finding companionship on the page. It's about feeling understood, feeling a little less alone in what you're going through. And honestly, sometimes that's more healing than any piece of advice could ever be.
If you found this helpful, please share it with someone who might need it. And if you'd like more explainers like this, please make sure you click like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for joining us.